Honourable Member Claudette Hauiti. Tēnā koe.
Yes, tēnā koe I te rangatira, Mr Speaker. It's a privilege and an honour to stand to take a call on the Resource Management Restricted Duration of Certain Discharge and Coastal Permits Amendment Bill, second reading. I am a member of the Local Government and Environment Select Committee. However, this bill had come in previous to my arriving in Parliament, but I would like to, along with my colleagues, congratulate the member for bringing the bill into the House, Green Party, Catherine Delahunty, who I would like to remind our colleagues here in the House that Catherine Delahunty's mahi amongst the Māori communities is extremely well known, and also the mahi that her whānau have done as well too is also extremely well known and very much appreciated and quite revered. So mihi atu ki a koe mō tō mahi, mō te mahi o tō whānau hoki. It is, though, however, unfortunate that we will not be supporting this bill, and I agree with my colleagues that the support of this bill is not forthcoming on a number of levels, and they have been explained and clarified and reinforced by my colleagues. The purpose of the bill is to limit the time period for which a discharge permit or a coastal permit may be issued to 5 years when a permit to discharge is deemed necessary due to exceptional circumstances. However, National knows how important the environment is to all New Zealanders, and at present we have a very good working relationship with a number of iwi, including Ngāi Tahu and Tainui, to just name two, around this very issue and around environment and around conservation. And so therefore the policies that we have currently in place are very well suited for iwi in order for them to determine and to define what is relevant for them in their contextual areas and in their space and on their rohe. We're also delivering on our promise to make the RMA a law that better balances environmental protection with economic growth. And streamlining and simplifying the RMA is an important part of the government's program. A key factor behind our ongoing RMA reform is the drive to achieve enduring outcomes while reducing time, cost, uncertainties involved in the process, and we know that to be effective because of the feedback that we are getting from many of the iwi around the motu. The Select Committee recommendations the Local Government and Environment Committee received and considered, as we have heard, around 148 submissions from interested rōpū and individuals, as well as 3 from submissions comprising 18 individuals. And the committee heard 27 submissions and held hearings in Whakatane and here in Wanganui Atara in Pōneke. The Select Committee has examined the Resource Management Restricted Duration of Certain Discharge and Coastal Permits Amendment Bill, and as my colleagues have said earlier, we recommend that it not be passed. The committee were not persuaded that this bill is the most effective way of improving water quality. Rather, the initiatives at a national level, such as the Land and Water Forum and the National Policy Statement for Freshwater Management 2011, are likely to be more effective vehicles. The Section 107.2a of the Resource Management Act has only been used a few times, and in each case the Environment Court has applied a stringent test and considered timeframes. And Mr Chair, Mr Speaker, Each case has also involved detailed discussions about what constitutes exceptional circumstances, including the following considerations: something out of the ordinary or unusual or not typical, a substantial investment, projects that involve a regionally or nationally significant resource, projects that out of their nature rely on using a waterway, projects that will contribute to resilience on natural hazards. And the committee believed that a shorter duration for exceptional circumstances could adversely affect the ability of companies to raise capital, ensure adequate long-term investment. The government's resource management reforms are about ensuring we manage our resources more effectively, more efficiently, to deliver both economic and environmental benefits for future generations. And the government is currently in the second phase of RMA reform, and addressing whether this particular section needs to be amended should be part of the full, well thought out RMA reform package. Section 107.2a, which this bill seeks to amend, is rarely applied in discharge or coastal permits. There is no evidence that this section is being used inappropriately. Where Section 107.2a has been applied, there have only been limited instances where permits issued under this section have resulted in appeals to the Environment Court. In each case, the Environment Court has applied a rigorous test to validate the exceptional circumstances and reaffirmed conditions of the permits issued to minimise environmental effects. Limiting the time frame for consents issued where Section 107.2a applies as proposed by this bill would have no effect on current consents. In addition, it's not likely to affect many consents in the future given to the current limited use of the section. I would also just like to reiterate here, for some of our colleagues who come and champion on behalf of iwi, hapu and whānau around the motu, could I just emphasise that iwi, hapu and whānau are quite capable of championing their own issues, their own take and their own kaupapa, and that we are, and I say we, Māori, are more than capable of championing our own kaupapa within the parameters of legislation. And in fact, the Environment Court is very well represented by Māori interests. And so therefore, I think that we should be very careful when we put ourselves forward as the māngai of those iwi, when in actual fact, iwi are quite capable of representing themselves. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I stand to debate this. However, we do not support this bill.
Just before I call the next Honourable Speaker, just wish to advise the House that this is a split call that the Greens have agreed to.
Mr. Speaker.
I call the Honourable Member Eugenie Sage. Tēnā koe, Ms. Sage.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Please to take a short call